Out with the old, in with the new. I think we've all seen the new trend on the rise within the K-pop scene recently, and if you're anything like me, you're probably just wondering why. Punk music is kind of seen as a dead genre. It came out of nowhere, blew up out of nowhere, and just as fast as it came into existence, faded back into oblivion. So why is it suddenly coming back with a vengeance? What makes pop punk such an interesting genre that now, years after its initial success and downfall, we're suddenly seeing a resurgence in the K-pop scene? Today, I want to talk a little bit about this genre of music, its influence on the K-pop scene, and why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. On to our travels!
It's the trip again. The city of soul.
I wanted to start this off by talking about some of the things that made punk music so interesting to begin with, and why it was so loved back in the day. But I think the best way to go about this is through the music itself. So here are a few K-pop songs that have drawn off this genre recently, as well as a old punk song that I think uses a lot of the same ideas as the K-pop song.
I know it's real, I can feel it. I know that the song is wake me up when September ends.
TXT were sort of the ones to bring the sound into the K-pop scene, and needless to say, they have done an amazing job at it. The team behind them seems to have a great understanding of the rawness a good punk song needs to remain memorable for years to come, and the boys themselves gave one of the best performances I think a K-pop group probably could with a song such as these. The song is a ticking time bomb in the best way possible. It plays on the strength punk used to have by giving it that feeling of heart-wrenching nostalgia that you get when you listen to old songs like it. This song doesn't try to mess with the formula, it's just a punk song, simple as that. Stood next to Fall Out Boy or All Time Low in the peak of their careers, it would pale in comparison to some of their greatest hits. Not because it's bad, but because it fits into a fault. It's almost too good at what it does. But that was the whole point. It wasn't released 15 years ago in the peak of the scene, it was released now, making it a standout hit. This song's greatest strength is their timing, which is nearly the complete opposite of Green Day's Wake Me Up When September Ends. This song is a staple from that time period, not because it managed to stand out, it was the grittiest of the song. The raw emotions portrayed in just a mere 4 minutes that made people flock to it like moths to a flame. Losing someone is relatable, it's a feeling we've all felt. But now someone's expressed it in almost horrifying detail with a slow, dusty guitar dragging those emotions back out of you. And that was the true Allure. That was what TXT found and used against all of us. Pop punk was memorable because it was relatable, sometimes scarily so. And Lovesong is one of the best examples of this. It's a song that sets a weight on your chest when you hear it, both feeling for the boys trying to get away from their struggles, but also relating to the feelings of abandonment and loneliness sung throughout the song. It's the realization that the angel they sing so beautifully about is nothing more than a convenience to them, nothing more than a dim light in their dark worlds. Lovesong is a deceiving title in more than one way. The first deception trickles in with the first few notes. You realize this isn't your usual love song. It's dark and gruesome, gritty and cruel. This is the sort of love that leaves a bitter taste in your mouth when it's over. The second is when you realize this is no love song at all. Realizing that the love they sing about is nothing more than a getaway for them. A one-way ticket out of that town and away from their problems, only to be abandoned in the end. Like nothing more than another memory they wish to forget. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and maybe it was never real to begin with.
Damn tomboy.
I want to start this off by saying that I really, truly like this song. It's not their best work by far, but I genuinely enjoy it as it is. That being said, I need a bad example, and this was the first one that came to mind, so I think most people's biggest problem with this song is that it feels too commercial. True, TXT's music didn't really seem to bring anything new to the scene, but they also tried to give it their own colors. Tomboy feels more like a pop punk song that took a few too many tilts towards the pop side. What I'm trying to say, it has no character. I can see what it's trying to do. If there's anything more memorable about punk music than its stripped down, raw feelings it portrays, it's the fun, who gives a shit attitude that a lot of songs carry as well. Avril Lavigne's Rock and Roll is another great example of this. It may not be one of her most iconic songs, but it's one of the ones I remember the most, even years after its initial release. Both songs kind of play on this ridiculousness factor that plagued pop punk at the time. But while Avril Lavigne was fighting lobsters, decapitating bear sharks, and crashing cars with drunk dogs, Idol were killing Ken dolls? I feel like both of these songs are trying to run on this sort of Alice in Wonderland what will happen next sort of style. The ridiculous, borderline nonsense at times. But there's something about rock and roll that feels more authentic. Even though that too basically runs on tropes. To make a long story short, it just feels like Idol took themselves a little bit too seriously with this sound. Personally, I think it would have been a lot more fun to see them tackle this more like rock and roll, or even find a happy medium and do something a bit more creative and carefree like Soyeon's Beam Beam. While I do appreciate all the ideas that went into the song, I just can't help but feel like it's nothing more than a watered down version of others like it. I feel like these two songs are probably the most standout songs right now for the punk scene coming out of K-pop recently, and I feel like I've gotten my point across pretty well with just these songs alone. So instead, I want to take a look at some other classic elements of the genre and how I'd like to see K-pop go about trying them.
I'm a motel stay on a weeknight. I'm a plane and I'm blocking your sunlight. I'm a first class ticket to a fist fight. 방에 걸친 네 black jeans, mama's coach. Michael Jackson, I so want that Justin Bieber. Can you feel that? You are my cherry. 남아서도 붉게 물들어간다. All I need you. I so need you.
거친 바람을 타고 다 물들여 모든 계절이 선명한 그 순간